homecoming, 88 years of GB's operations, and we're still hanging out with you on breakfast on GTV. Before we go through the headlines this morning, in the wake of the bullying, if you like, bullying, attack, assault on Azhar College, there, an expert has made a comment, and he says that the assault should be blamed on GES. We want to find GES management, actually. We want to find out exactly what he means, and this happens to be Mr. Anthony Akwe, who has an MA in security aspect, the policy expert at Center for Security Dialogue and Peace Advocacy. Mr. Anthony Akwe, good morning, sir. Okay, so we're trying to reconnect to Ms. Anthony Akwe, who made a statement on Ghana Web. He says that the assault should be blamed on GES and the school's management, actually. I want to find out from him exactly what he makes of that statement and what you also think about the statement he's made. Ms. Anthony Akwe, we have you now. Mr. Akwe, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you doing, Mr. Akwe?
This is Mr. Kujo, actually.
Mr. Kujo, all right.
Yeah.
Are you a security expert?
Say again.
Are you a security expert? Policy, yes. Fantastic. Now, so a statement has been attributed to you on Ghana Web that you're saying that the assault at Adisade College should be blamed on GES and the school's management.
Please, can you speak up a bit? I can't hardly hear.
So I am saying that there's a statement on Ghana Web which has been attributed to you that the assault case at Adisade College should be blamed on the school as well as the GES. You want to let us in more on that this morning? It is how we lost Mr. Is that Mr. Kujo rather? In the meantime, while we try getting him, there are some headlines here. So, for instance, the finder says that top police officials, investigators, are billed to visit Azhar College as assault investigations begin, and that story is trending. And we have one from the Daily Graphic, AG to prosecute Adisade College students, still trending. I mean, high numbers for that story, unfortunately. And then we have a couple of stories too. The Ghanaian Times, I am sure, is talking about the fact that Ghana loses 26 million Ghana cedis in 2 years through electronic money issuers. We'll take a look at some of these things. And so death penalty scrapped. It's also trending. We want to find out exactly what it means. And Ghana loses, as I recently talked about, Ghana loses 26 million cedis in 2 years. And that's through electronic money issuers. And a couple of headlines that are on our screen this morning. Then a few of them trending also. We have Ghana Web again saying that Cecilia Dapa OSP found more money at a residence. It took 5 hours to count. That's a report from Ghana Web, we told. And we suffering pay us 2022-23 rotational allowances. That's for nurses and midwives. And this one also from the Daily Graphic. AG prosecute Adisade College students. We just went to that, page 16 of the Graphic. Then death penalty scrapped. We also saw that a couple of minutes ago. And President appoints sanitation minister, 2 others. That's page 16 of the Daily Graphic. And I think that we have Mr. Kujo back on the Mr. Anthony Akwe. He just told me Anthony Akwe. Mr. Akwe. Mr. Anthony Akwe.
Hello.
Mr. Akwe, good morning.
Good morning.
I hear you made a statement on Ghana Web. It's been captured on Ghana Web that the assault case that took place at Azhar College should be blamed on GES and the school's management. You want to tell us more about that, Mr. Akwe?
Okay. Good morning to your listeners.
Good morning. Welcome.
And truly, what you just mentioned is true. I made a statement with regard to the
assault at the Sada College. And the point I'm trying to make here is that all the blame here should be blame on Ghana Education Service and school management. I mean, the whole institutions in the country. Okay. In this very issue with regard to the Sada College. The truth of the matter is that in the normal regime, every institution should have what we call security policy document. And what the document tries to do is to state clearly how students should be protected and the properties of the institution should be protected. The policy tries to spell out how intelligence should be gathered in the school in order to ensure that decisions at the management level with respect to security is being achieved. Now, if we look at what happened in Adesado, the incident happened in a dormitory. And for some time, the authorities of the school didn't even know that the incident had happened. But the point is, if they do have a system, which is security policy document, stating clear how students communicate in terms of intelligence of any assault or other, bullying activities in the school, I believe that the management would have been informed as early as possible. Now, if you look at how these dormitories are being managed, you have a house master, a deputy house master, and these two people are to take in charge of about more than 500 students. And the point is that even if you look at UN, police to civilian ratio, one police is supposed to take care of about 450 civilians. So how much, a house master taking care of more than 500, more than 600 students in a dormitory. Obviously, you can't have it perfect. But so long as you're able to have these security policy documents where, at the end of the day, even the cadets in the school, people are trained among the cadets from Form 1 to Form 3. All, students who are in the cadets, some of them are being trained as in how intelligence are picked, as in how information are being released to authority for further security decisions. I believe at the end of the day, we'll go a long way to help our institutions. You see, my brother.
Mr. Akwe, can I come in here? You made an instructive statement, yes, but if students decide not to speak up and they decide to keep to themselves whatever has taken place, how will authority know? I
didn't hear you.
I'm saying that assuming that students decide not to voice out what has happened, how will authorities know and take action?
Assuming that
students involved in any kind of incidents which is untoward to the school's authorities' guidelines, and the students decide to keep the incident to themselves, how will authorities know and react or respond to it?
Yes.
It can happen, right?
So what it means is that with the security policy document, apart from the head prefect of the dormitory, we have, students who are within the school cadets who are being trained as in how intelligence are picked with regard to personal security. Now, these people form part of the intelligence, cabal in the school. And so, for any reason, if a senior tries to bully a junior trying to hide it, I believe that with these guys being involved in the security architecture, taking intelligence in the school from Form 1 to Form 3, those who happen to be part of the cadets, we can, inform the authority, if not the house matter. Possibly they can't get the right people to inform as to what is going on in the dormitory. So it's all about security policy documents that states clearly how best intelligence are picked in our various, dormitories in the schools.
And that's supposed to be coming from the GS, right?
Yes, of course. It should be coming from the GS. You know, the GS play a part. The management of the schools also play a part, because every schools and then the kind of threat or the risks that can be identified. Because before you can lay down this security policy document, there must be a management, or there must be a risk or threat assessment where the various risks within the school can be assessed, and then appropriate measures can be given out as in how best to deal with those threats. So, for instance, if you look at what happened at this other, if clearly the intelligence are working, you might have some issues of, you know, bullying in that very dormitory for some time. And that should tell you that if those informations are coming out, of course it is a threat. And so there would be the need for the management to sit down and take some serious security measures in handling some of this issue, rather than to even to observing, you know, a situation of this caliber.
Mr. Akwil, let me ask you, practically, how should this policy be implemented? Practically, assuming there's a policy of that sort by the GES, how should it be practically implemented to ensure that some of these things are at least be able to have the red lights, the alarming bells are sounded, and then we know that this can happen within the space of time?
Okay, so this is it. Having all the experts to look at the risk management in the school, to sit down and stipulate all the necessary, you know, things that should be needed in the policy document. Now, it is mandate on the school to print out all those documents in the booklet form to be given to all the students. So, Form 1 students, who are being admitted in the school, they are all given those, you know, security policy documents, of which they will be reading it, because at the end of the day, even within the document, the security policy document, you have some disciplinary actions that will be taken against you when you go wayward. So all these things are being imposed. So to implement it, you bring them out. Students have them in their domain. Non-teaching staff have it in their domain. Teaching staff have it in their domain. And everybody in the school, both teaching staff, non-teaching staff, students, have what he or she is supposed to do in order to ensure that we have, you know, a safe and then security level within the school.
And probably displayed on a notice board, right?
Of course. That is even a very good idea to that effect. It is, you know, when you go to US, you can't operate you can't operate a school in US without having a security policy document.
I see.
Yes. And even within your company where you are now, there should be a security policy document. If your company don't have it, you need to ask them, where's the security policy document? But the security policy document, it should tell you those who are coming into the company, what are they coming to do? When the person comes to the company, where he's supposed to keep his bag? Is he given a certain tag? The tag given to him, whether green, blue, or red, should identify who the person is and what the person is coming to do in your company. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So now, unfortunately, it has happened. What do you think should be done in the medium to long term? Short term, I wonder, but as you're talking about policy, what should be done? It's taking place already. And
okay, so what I did first was to condemn the act. And then I have also said that this act is beyond bullying. This is, you know, an act of terrorism, and that it shouldn't just be handled at the student level or at the management level in the school. They should allow police investigation to take place.
Yeah, that has been.
And then the appropriate, you know, sanction per the law should be given to the student, because this is more than, you know, bullying. And then with respect to what should be done now, I think that there's a need to sell the idea to the authorities of, you know, Ghana Education Service, and then the various institutions, as in the need for security policy document. And trust me, if they don't know about it, they can contact some of us. We are expecting that, and help them to, you know, develop a strong,
Formulate it, right?
comprehensive security policy document in order to help the students. Not
Okay.
only, in essence, all the institutions in the country.
Right. I must thank you very much, Mr. Anthony Akwe, who's a security policy expert at the Center for Security, Dialogue and Peace Advocacy. Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony Akwe, for your time this morning. There's anything, we'll call you again. All right. You have a good day.
Thank you,
All right, thank you very much indeed. So, well, we had perspective from Mr. Anthony Akwe, who's a security policy expert at the Center for Security, Dialogue and Peace Advocacy. I have with me Thelma Taki and Kafui Day, the King Kaf. I want them to tell me what they think of this unfortunate incident at this school. The expert describes it as more than the bully. Says a terrorism attack, and that's a serious one. But he knows why he's saying so. Thelma, if the ladies first, I come to you. You've been to school. It's schooled in Ghana, schooled in the UK, and all that. Now, whilst here, now he's talking about the Western country. They have it. We don't have it. But I know we've had several bullying incidents, but probably not to this magnitude. It has come up. GES are taking steps to do a few things. The students, the perpetrator of the crime, if you like, has been dismissed, and we are told that the victim has been taken home to be taken care of, to come and write his final paper and all that. What do you think?
Good morning. I don't think that this is a one-off thing. So contrary to what some people say, I think it's rather in the majority and not in the minority. Okay. I'm saying this because you are a disco yourself. You're a Santa Claus. It's a proud one.
Must you say it here?
Yes, a proud one. And at the time that you were in a disco, I'm sure that instances of bullying were there.
Exactly.
But you see, it's only now coming to the fore because somebody illegally sent a phone to
social media.
And now it's on social media. I think that it's more common than we think. Okay. And we are gradually breeding a tolerant society, or a society that is tolerant of these things that we called homoing whilst we were in school. And we are now not taking steps to stop it because we've imbibed it as part of the secondary school boarding house culture. More and more parents are making a conscious decision not to send their children to boarding school because of some of these things. Because how do you monitor the situations in the dormitories? The GES has a no corporal punishment policy.
Yes.
But is there an anti-bullying policy in secondary schools?
No.
That is what we should be talking about. So if my boy goes to school and some bully does this to him, can you really blame me for any action that I will take? And going the legal way is the nicest way to go about it. I know people who have been so traumatized just watching that video that they've considered taking the law into their own hands. Because where was the law when that boy was being so viciously assaulted? I find it abhorrent. I find it, I can't use, unsavory words on the platform. But that boy needs counseling. Because if you see the look on the boy's face, whilst he held another person's child, his colleague, someone who's supposed to be his junior brother, in that chokehold, the likes of which we only see on TV, it's worrying, to say the least. He needs counseling. How can you be so wicked and vile? What did the boy do to deserve such a treatment from you? He needs counseling. Yes, he should face some responsibility and some punishment. But beyond that, what reformative steps are we putting him through so that he does not become this monster of a person that we saw on TV? Where did he learn those kinds of things? Is he watching the age-appropriate material of media, movies, exposed to the right reading materials that he should for his age? How do you become this person? That's the question I would ask. How did you become this person? His parents must be...
Well, before I come to you, Thelma just mentioned that I'm a Santa Clausian. Yes. And you confirmed it. Now, when this incident came up, I did a couple of investigations, and I was told, I stand to be corrected, be it true or not, but I was told that this incident happened on the 30th of June.
Couple of weeks back.
3rd of June.
3 weeks back.
More than that.
Oh, you're almost 4 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Almost a month.
Yeah.
3rd of June. And so it is strange that it is now coming up. I don't know what might have caused, if you like, the covering of the incident that it's now coming up. But 30th of June is now coming up. I was also told that they are actually 4 mates. It wasn't between a senior and a junior. Okay. So the whole thing's a bit murky. Whatever it is, the act is so highly condemnable.
Big time.
Kaf.
Yes.
Speak.
So I went to Google Scholar and I just searched for bullying in secondary schools, Ghana. And you have research on bullying. There are so many articles there. The association between bullying and psychological health among senior high schools in Ghana. Types of bullying in the senior high schools. I pulled that out. I'll show you. Peer relations, violence, and school attendance. There's the impact of bullying on educational performance. So people may not be doing well in school. It could be because they're being bullied.
That's right.
There's the relationship between psychological distress and bullying victimization among school-going adolescents in Ghana. I'll just pull out 2 of them. So types of bullying in the senior high schools. This was a study done by Kwesi Antwi from the University of Cape Coast. He spoke to 354 respondents drawn from 6 schools in Ashanti, Central and Northern regions. And he says there's physical bullying, there's social bullying, there's verbal bullying, there's cyber bullying, and there's psychological bullying inside the schools.
Can I pause you here?
Yeah.
1 second. So let me announce to wonderful viewers that WhatsApp number. You may start putting your views, experiences about bullying and all that on 0555 561 034. Number again is 0555 561 034. You can send your messages, your experiences about bullying.
Indeed.
What you think.
Yes.
Let's go on.
Yes,
Great.
and so this Mr. Antwi recommended that schools have to set up a system which will identify the various types of bullying and stop the bullying in the school. Students need to be counseled to be made aware of what is going on. So this is just one piece. I'll look at the second one. There are so many things going on there. The association between bullying and psychological health among SHS students in Ghana. And his conclusion is that bullying victimization is a major problem among SHS students. And they are seeing signs of depression, suicide ideation. People want to kill themselves because they're being bullied. They're also seeing signs of sleep problems, loneliness. There's a whole range of mental health issues that are connected with bullying. And he's concluding that it's a major problem among SHS students. He's recommending that they need to strengthen existing proactive anti-bullying programs by taking into account the association between bullying and psychological health. So it's not just injuries to the body like we saw, but the stuff going on in the minds of people. You know, people are maybe unwilling to even go back to school because you're going back to basically to a hell hole.
Exactly.
You know, it's almost terrorizing. I cannot even imagine what the parents of the victim will be thinking when you see your son being slammed against a metal bed.
The whole world,
and instantly you get I don't know what they call it, a swelling. So it's a very serious thing. I was just reflecting yesterday. I was thinking, do we need to put CCTV cameras inside the dormitories so that, because the school system is almost like a prison system now. I've been to my old school and there were so many people in the dormitory, and I've seen research where this is rats. So rats are not human beings. But what they did was that in a confined space they had 1 rat there. Then they put another rat, second rat, third rat, fourth rat. They increased the number of rats, and you know what happened? The rats started fighting each other, biting their heads off.
On that note of
having sex with each other, male rats.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. No,
I'll come back to that. That's interesting, Carl.
Yeah. So
we have Justice Abdullahi on the line, who is a legal practitioner, who gives us the legal aspect to the whole saga. Mr. Justice Abdullahi, good morning.
That's another problem.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Abdullahi. Hello? Mr. Abdullahi? I
don't think he's on.
I'm interested.
So there's research to show that this bullying thing is crazy, and we need to nip it in the bud. Yeah.
Years back.
I am glad I did not send my children to any public boarding school.
And that's what I'm saying. Many more parents are beginning to make that decision not to send their children to boarding school because of some of these things.
Yes.
Public schools.
I wouldn't do it. I'm glad I didn't do it, Because this is mad.
This is honestly, I was shattered when I saw it, because you already said it. When it hit the head against the metal bed, instantly there was a swell. Baka, would you try to find out, or maybe Thelma, why it kept so long before it came out? Because when we spoke to Anthony Akwe earlier, he says there should be some policy, and I asked him, what if students decide to keep some of these things to themselves? How will the policy work? Now, if it happened really on the 30th of June, as I was told from the school, how come it's now coming out? It means they try to shield it.
Definitely.
It may be, because Adesado is a great school, and it's produced some really great people.
I'm sorry, Thelma. Mr. Abdullahi Justice is around, back on the line. Mr. Abdullahi, good morning. Mr. Abdullahi. Mr. Justice Abdullahi. Lions are playing trumps on us.
Right. I was saying that Adesado is no doubt a great school, but you see, you don't want to play the greatness of a school against the safety of a student, because that student is also likely to be a great of the school. Exactly. So it's not one against the other. If the investigations indeed prove that there were attempts to cover this up, then that should
by the student,
that should also be another, because you are complicit if you sit to witness a disservice, this bullying incident being done, and you did not report it. You're complicit. So the student who actually even recorded is in trouble now, because they sent a mobile phone to school. So anyone who was there, if you witness a crime and you don't report it, you're also wrong. So is it that the students were also trying to protect themselves by not saying what happened?
That was what I
was
it
an institutional orchestration of a cover-up? So did it get reported and somebody decided not to say anything until the video became viral? That is what an investigation should tell us.
The guy himself, the victim, when he came out, he was asking why. I was like, really?
It's embarrassing.
Because to them, it was a school thing.
No, it wasn't.
And I was told that was the reason the housemaster wasn't told. But now the communique out there is that he's also going to be suspended.
He's been suspended.
He has been
suspended.
Because you know what,
So,
this was recorded on a phone, and phones are illegal in the school system. So already, why did you bring a phone to
school? So is the housemaster being, has he been suspended because there was a phone in his house, or because a vulnerable student has been assaulted by another student?
Well, the investigation is underway.
Exactly.
And I think the big picture is GES, because of all the research I've read around bullying in secondary schools in Ghana, all the recommendations point to GES must set up a system to stop bullying. So we need to be calling GES and finding out, do they have a system to stop bullying? And are the schools implementing the system?
Stopping bullying, stop bullying, hashtag stop bullying. So we have, I think we should have him now. Justice Abdullahi. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
I think we have to take the calls to the Court of Appeal. This is not working.
Seriously, because
it's not working. It's not working. All right, Justice, bye-bye.
I think that we have beautiful laws in this country. Every day we make new laws. This many papers that have been
articles like, and all that. Yes,
a study
academic research.
The laws are beautiful, but what's the implementation?
That's a problem.
The laws are pretty. The recommendations are nice. They sound good. Because we already have a system of, our secondary school system already has a bad image because of the instances we've had where students have used unsavory language and people have gone on rampage to even propagate things that they feel is their legitimate right to propagate for, but yet using the wrong means to do it. We already have a bad name for some of these things. Do we need to add this level of bullying to it? Don't get me wrong. I went to Tema Secondary School, and I remember in first year, they will take you through some traditions and call it like Homo's Night or something.
It happened at this school.
Should it go to the extent of bodily harm?
No.
If that was my child, by now, my bucket of water and I are sitting at the court or at the headmistress or headmaster's office waiting for that student to be brought out and to answer some questions. And I think that if we want this to be the impression that people have about our secondary school system, that's very unfortunate. I want to see more beyond the letters that are flying around. I want to see an actual investigative report at my table that points to the failures in the system and the steps being taken to plug those loopholes. I don't want to not hear about this again in a few weeks, and then we'll ask ourselves, hey, do you know what happened to the student who did this? And everybody will be like, we don't know.
No.
And only all students of Adisco would probably have access to some of the information that you are sharing with us now. I find it unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I love Adisco people. You know
I
that.
know.
I mean, when I saw the chokehold, I was thinking, is this another George Floyd moment? Because
I was saying
I was just
that
thinking,
every life
are they going to kill
matters.
this
Black
guy
life matters.
through strangulation? So they hit him on just threw me off. I said, oh, whoa. Who are these guys?
Honestly, it's
are they
terrible.
prisoners?
It's terrible.
Are they
Honestly.
prisoners having a fight? What's going on here? Then it turns out that these are SHS students. Teenagers. So these are teenagers. They can't be 20. They can't be 19.
No.
These are teenagers.
Exactly.
And so I'm glad the police is involved. The Attorney General has recommended that it be treated as a criminal case. And let's see it to the logical conclusion. Listen, bullying affects even school performance. People are getting bad grades. People are dropping out. People are having ideas of suicide. People are having depression because of this violence. This is just violence, whether it's physical violence or emotional, psychological violence. All the papers are there. People have done all the stuff.
Are you saying
It's
the boy,
unfortunate.
the victim, was actually his mate?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if that is what you do to your mate,
Mate.
what are you doing to the
your
juniors?
junior. That's a
Scary.
question to ask.
Scary. People are going to secondary school younger and younger these days.
Exactly.
Because this,
Exactly.
netizens and Gen Zs, they are really smart.
Exactly.
And people are going to secondary school at 12 and at 13.
You're right.
If I'm putting my 13-year-old in a school where
In charge
that
of
senior,
the school authority.
if I have a petite-sized teenager who I'm sending to secondary school, I wouldn't want him to come across these kinds of people. People who would be in the same dorm and look on while somebody does this to my child or my ward.
Yeah, they're all complicit. Those who are watching,
And let's stop this practice of sending people to go and beg on behalf of other people when they do the wrong thing. Yes, let people show remorse and let the people around them join them in showing that remorse. But whilst you apologize, whilst you send your people to the school to beg for Adisco to take you back or whatever, can you also face the responsibilities, the consequences of your actions? Because freedom of speech is guaranteed by the Constitution. Freedom after speech is another matter.
Kinka, before you come in, right? Let me conclude the story. The news I had when I tried to make some investigations.
Good.
I was also told, additionally, that after the 30th June incident, when this thing really happened, the perpetrator of that, if you like, crime, boiled hot water and tried to, help the guy and all that because they were mates. And so I'm like, this whole thing, I don't get it.
I think he was scared of the consequences. Boil water and help what? No,
Exactly.
you've committed an offense. You have to face the law. It's as simple as that.
and so-
Yeah, that's violence, serious, grievous bodily harm and assault. There's so many things that can. Well, the long arm of the law has caught up with. Was that your old house, by the way, Kweku House?
No.
That wasn't your
Kweku
house.
House was down Katanga. I was at upper school.
What was the worst form of bullying that you experienced when you were a
My
Nido?
time, you could be at gravels should be placed somewhere. You kneel
On the gravel.
on the gravels. You hold 2 pillows.
Yes.
Not blocks. 2
Yeah,
pillows.
Yeah.
Sometimes for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sometimes simply refusing to give your senior something he wants. It belongs to me. I said no. You be, and that is not. That's punishment actually.
But it was still bullying. They were bullying you.
But honestly, bullying then will be pondered and all that. It wasn't as what we are saying
Yeah.
now.
I mean, nobody held your neck.
No,
Because this was like a fight, really.
it's strange.
Yeah.
And the guy was so defenseless.
Yeah, well,
So
they've got
different
you around
that-
your neck. I mean,
Exactly.
your airways are blocked. What can you do?
Seriously, at a point I felt I was going to drop dead because I saw him trying to catch up some breath, and then the head was patting the head against the.
Yeah.
It's a metal
It's a metal bed.
Bed.
Too bad. Nee, I think Thelma wants to read something.
Thelma, yes. You have a couple of messages.
Yes, I do have
Wonderful.
some messages. Thank you for sending them across to us. 05555610034. And someone is trying to give us a description of what he saw in that video, thinking that this is just a tip of the iceberg. And I've mentioned this as I sat with you. And the person is describing, look at how the small boy was not even struggling. He looked somehow suffocated. All these things came as a result of announcing to the public that the teacher cannot punish a student. So students are now killing each other, and teachers, and whenever there is a teacher, now there's no news, but a student, more news. So suggesting that because teachers can no longer have a say in the conduct of, I don't think that's entirely true, because the teachers still have a responsibility to ensure safety of their students. But that's the opinion of Yakubo, who sent it to us. This boy must be jailed, else this bullying will not stop. I can imagine seeing my son being bullied like this. Sandra sent us that from Atomic Heels. More on teachers. King is saying teachers are also involved in this bullying issue. Some teachers used bedboard, slaps and physical punches on their students. It's not just a student-student affair. Thank you. So broadening the scope of the conversation here. Good morning. Please, we need to differentiate between bullying and assault. Bullying has a degree of measure to show off or exert an authority. What did happen was intentional assault. The biggest problem is that the power to punish has been eliminated completely by this free SHS policy, and we need to reverse it. If we were to be my child, I would have sued the GES, the school, and the housemaster. Alexander Tinkrang Esquire.
I beg to differ. Bullying is also physical. That
bullying
was feeling he was physically bullying that person.
Bullying can also be physical.
Yeah.
Is it our upbringing that produced people like this? It's sad that our kids will behave like this in school. May God help us. Another viewer said, Bernard, one of your students, my experience about this bullying thing, when I was in SHS, I was bullied because my school father was one of the famous guys on campus. So they bullied me because I was in SHS 1 and I was moving with the SHS 3 boys. And it affected me in my studies, but yet still I passed my WASI. I was so scared to go to school. I almost told my mom that I do not want to go to school again. I wake up every day thinking of the bullying boys in my school.
That's exactly what you're saying. The research
gave us those exact same details. Someone is sending you flowers, Neodati. I've loved Neodati on GTV. In school, us at 93, we call it Homo's Night, where all Form 1 students were dressed up in all kinds of weird dresses. I recently chanced on a picture, and I laughed.
That was
Don't
harmless.
let us be confused.
That was harmless.
Don't let us confuse homo and bullying. This incident is not bullying. This is assault and should be treated as it is. My opinion, though, bullying can also be assault.
Physical.
Has the removal of corporal punishment from schools helped Ghana? This is a great question.
Yes.
And perhaps we should put on our social media handle, see what you people think. We're going to be sharing this question on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere you can find GTV Ghana. Has the removal of corporal punishment from schools helped Ghana? I think it has, because beating children is not really my idea of a great way to
train a child.
But here is a question. What have been the benefits and what have been the disbenefits since we removed corporal punishment in school? Bullying. It's normal. Wow, Henry says it is normal.
It's normal to have your face slammed against a metal bed.
This boy should be jailed. I tell you, if the victim happened to be my relative, I would have taken the matter into my own hands and deal with this monster. And they're putting some emojis that we can't talk about. Hi, Breakfast Show. Hello to you as well. But to think that someone thinks it is normal. Henry says it is normal. So have we normalized
until it happens to your son? Until it happens to your son or your daughter, it is normal.
I'm sure Henry looking at it as another angle, where he thinks, like somebody else said, you be pounded and all that. But it's escalated. Now, but
if you put my neck in a chokehold
and slam my face,
you cannot. That's my life there. Bed. Come on, man.
Back up. Thelma, I struggle to see a correlation between the removal of the corporal punishment and this sum of acts.
Because discipline is still a responsibility.
They think that when you know that there's a fear of punishment, you will be disciplined because you know that something physical will happen to you.
But you see, discipline and punishment, we are looking at those in terms of actually causing bodily harm to someone. But you can discipline somebody without...
Exactly. And that's where I'm coming in. a direct correlation between the two.
That's a good question.
You know, but well, let's go on. You have some more
Well,
messages?
and the idea that because of free SHS now, I've heard these suggestions that we can't talk their matter.
No,
we
but,
can.
I don't think the policy came
The
with
teachers
that.
still have a responsibility to discipline the children using the appropriate laid down rules and regulations.
But
it should not cause grievous bodily harm.
Yes, but it could also be an argument that if you have increasing numbers of people in a school system, then the school system becomes overwhelmed,
And the house
then it's
masters
very
can't
hard for the
control.
house
Control
masters
becomes
to take
difficult.
control.
Supervise.
Yes, so there could be arguments for that. So population, lack of control, fewer resources. Because if one housemaster formerly was dealing with 20 boys,
Now he
and
has
now he has
500.
100 boys, can he have his eyes over them? I mean, look at a class in a private school where you have only 15 people in the class, as opposed to a public school where you have 45 people in the class.
That's right.
Would the teacher even know your name?
Sometimes more.
no.
Yeah.
More experiences are being shared on our screen. My daughter was bullied all the time because she was intelligent. I had to withdraw her from the boarding house, and now she's a day student. This must stop. Nancy sent us this from Insawam, and I've heard stories of this because you're brainy. Then people just
If
start
you hate
picking
it,
on
then
you.
Yeah, because
This-
you make the dunderheads look bad.
Exactly.
You know, they look bad already, but then
Why should-
your intelligence makes them
it's
look
not
even
their
better.
fault
It's not their
that
fault.
they
yeah.
are
And so she
intelligent.
took a decision and said, made her
Yes.
child a day
Yes.
student.
Made the
imagine?
child
But if you live in Boku and your child goes to school in
Cape
Cape
Coast
Coast,
or something.
how does the child become a day student? You see, so those are the
See?
things that you have to think
Exactly.
community boarding school.
about.
So
Yeah,
it's somewhere
we just
that's
have to
closer
end bullying.
you.
That's all.
Simple.
End it.
Yeah.
This bullying thing is going on in most secondary schools in Ghana. Samuel is sending us this message. Please, this should be the boy. I think he means should be in jail for some months. Well, let's say seeing the boy being dismissed and allowing him to write was he is so insulting. He mustn't write and should be punished severely to deter any student from such. As a mother, I would die to see my kid being treated this way. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I want to see a reformed abuser or bully who will use his experiences one day and say, listen, I used to be this person, but now I am not because I was given a chance to reform.
Exactly.
So I think don't throw the baby
I think
out
you
with the
have a point. You have a
bathwater.
strong point there
So
too.
like reform the boy. Let
boy.
him see what he's done wrong. Let him see why he cannot do it again. But don't deny him of what could potentially be
chance to
a
change.
bright future for him and the opportunity to change because he's made a mistake. We all make
You have a
mistakes.
strong point
Who
there
never
too.
fucked up? Hands in the air. So we all make
No
mistakes,
hands.
but let's reform and let him accept that it's not an acceptable thing to do. And so that's what
that's
I
a
would
good
like
one.
to see.
That's a good one.
There's
Messages.
more. There's more.
The students should be charged for attempting to kill, attempted murder. Wow, that's strong. If teachers
If
are
you are
not
going to
allowed to
Sabula, I would have
discipline a
spoken about it.
student
Well, no.
and there is no alternative disciplinary actions given to teachers, what should we expect? Okay, so what's the role of teachers in all this? Hi, Cap, the GES has a safe school policy, but I wonder if it is even known to teachers. Kofi sent this
Safe
from Trade
school
Bureau.
policy.
I'm going to look for
What's
that
the
policy.
Safe school
I'm going to look for
policy.
that policy, and then we'll
Really?
have a chat to GES.
More heat
So, but
coming
the expert just
on.
told that there's nothing like that.
Well, they say the
When it
GES has
goes.
it, so
I see.
we'll check it out.
Wow.
The GES should be blamed for loose rules in various schools.
Yeah,
okay?
that sounds like
So,
a rhyme. Loose
loose
in
rules
various
in
schools.
various schools.
Sack, take it over. Huh?
Greetings to the house and our listeners. This is very bad. The teachers are not allowed to discipline students to serve as a deterrent to others. Must students be allowed to do this? GES policies must be looked at. Daniel sent us this from Spintex Road. Good morning. It is wrong for the guy to do that. He should be punished very well. But what form of punishment should it take? I missed a whole year of school because of that. Teachers wouldn't take action. So my dad had to take action by chasing and beating them up himself. Because of my experience with bullying, today I have sworn not to talk to 2 senior colleagues at work because they tried bullying me at work. Every bully needs to be jailed. Chokehold and slam to a metal is not to be played
At all.
with.
At all.
I find this quite sad.
Yeah.
Because people grow. If you don't reform, people grow into bullies at work, bullies everywhere. Good morning, BFS. For me, the student should have been arrested straight away. The dismissal is really not enough. Bika from McCarthy. Neodate, good to see you. More on our screens. GTV Breakfast, you're doing marvelous job. You see, the Ghanaian character now is such that if you are being killed, no one will come to your rescue. We bring this bad character to the society. So none of the students in there could have separated them, including the cameraman.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
sad.
That's sad.
May this guy be reformed. Thank you. You see, it's the reformation really that we need to talk about. I changed my school because of bullying some years back. So feeding into the research that CAF has told us about. Thank you for the good work you're doing. One thing is that we keep on doing things that are not right all the time. We need to change and have a good mindset. Francis Zuta is reaching us. This is barbaric, and those found culpable must be punished. However, dismissal of students and housemasters will not solve the issue. It's a knee-jerk reaction to the issue. We're waiting for this message to come through. Good morning, GTV. I think the school authority should manage this matter very well and do things in a just way. Ibrahim from Ningo Pram. Good morning, Nee. I think the boy should be checked psychologically. Example, the type of home he comes from, the envelopment, from the look of things, I think he might be suffering from something. And someone thinks the cameraman should be dismissed as well, and students should be dismissed to set that mark.
Well, if he hadn't shown us the evidence, we wouldn't have been here. If he hadn't taken the video, we wouldn't know that this thing had happened. So we also have to balance that. You know, so if there are grades of punishment,
so he should be treated like the whistleblower.
No, he shouldn't be treated like the person who held somebody.
But like the whistleblower.
So there are levels. There are levels of punishment. Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I could read this comment
please.
from a colleague of ours who is also a pastor.
Why not?
And a parent as well.
Why not?
Okay.
Why
so
not?
he says.
Why not?
He says, why shouldn't a parent? And I'm sure he speaks for a lot of parents. Why shouldn't a parent be allowed to press charges? Why shouldn't the senior housemaster be made to face a panel of inquiry? Why shouldn't this young man be sacked and banned from any boarding institution in Ghana? Why shouldn't the parents of this young man, who could at best be described as an animal, be made to stay at home and his parents pay for private tuition? Why shouldn't the parents of this animal be made to pay for the hospital bills of this human being he's so violently injured? Why shouldn't the parents of the not-so-normal boy be made to pay life compensation to this young, normal human being who will live with this trauma for the rest of his life? Finally, free education is not for everyone, not especially for clearly not normal persons like this thing here. That headlock is only seen in violent videos and dangerous kickboxing, lately finding its way into our primetime television without the industry regulators' control. I feel angry and extremely emotional, and so please find it somewhere in your heart to forgive me if you don't find some of my descriptions palatable, more especially when you know that I'm a pastor and so compassion is expected of me. So these are the words of Daryl Alantego, and he was just livid when he saw the video for the first time. I mean, I was just shocked to see this happening and to realize that it's not a prison, a jail, but it's a school where we're supposed to be educating people. The youth are the leaders. They said the future leaders.
Exactly.
If these are the future leaders,
we're in trouble.
We're in big trouble.
Makaf, all the items you read, I checked all except the aspect where it seems like he's going to be denied reformation. That's the only aspect.
Yeah.
Because I think you should be given chance. Thelma said a couple of seconds ago, to bring some chance to reform. I believe that that's also important. Because assuming that Alan's, trust me, Alan's son had committed this kind of atrocity, maybe the language would
you sing a different song if the shoe was on your foot?
So
well, I would be disappointed as a father if this happened. It's like I failed.
Yes.
Yeah, so my child to behave like this is a big problem.
I check everything except where he's denied reformation.
So there should be a chance for reformation.
Exactly.
Yes. And he should be made to say sorry to this person.
Exactly.
And his parents must pay for the hospital bills.
I checked all that.
Yes,
all
he
that.
must.
Fine.
And he must suffer some kind of punishment. He cannot just say, forgive him.
No.
He was
He must go through.
Ghana will say,
it was the work of the devil.
Exuberance.
It was the
The
work
devil
of the
made me do it. The devil is overworked.
He's sitting somewhere. Devil is sitting somewhere anyway. It's about himself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
perhaps I'll take a couple more, and then we will call it a wrap.
Okay.
Someone is reporting something to us. We'll get to it in a bit. I think the boy should be jailed to serve as a deterrent to others. This is attempted murder. Nancy from in Sawam. Some housemasters are doing very well, just like Mauli SHS Wilberforce House. Okay, so people are shouting their housemasters.
Let it come close to them.
You see, the cameraman should be dismissed. That was Hills from Cape Coast who was suggesting that the camera guy should also be dismissed. Yeah.
I think the police should take this up because it's unacceptable in these schools. How many people go through this and they are not coming out to say out like this one. The school head should be invited to the police station to answer for this. Why is something like this? Why is there something like this and the police is not in the picture to investigate? Needs centers that
they've started investigations. Yes,
okay,
the AG has ordered an investigation.
So investigations are
Yeah,
ongoing.
yeah.
Unfortunately, those bullying others are the illiterate in schools. Are you sure?
Yeah. Some very intelligent people also bully.
Somebody said I was bullied by my classmate because I appeared to be one of the smartest in class. This continued for some time from class 1 till we were promoted to the next class. One day, I retaliated and used some iron on his head. That was how I left the school. Emmanuel from Ablikuma.
Confessions.
Confessions at the screen. Someone is asking, what does this say about the students who are standing around using their phones to video it? Neo that is still your guy. I would have loved to see Magnus Ajakojo. We'll tell you where he is pretty shortly.
Someone knows where he is.
Find him, Thelma, find him.
Back in the day in my school, when you bully a junior and you are caught, you'll be punished by the senior housemaster. Terria is sharing some experiences with us. And name the school so that we'll give them shouts. It seems this bullying is just too much. Action now. He has to face the music.
As long as it's not jazz.
The guy must be arrested because the level of a bullying in high school.
You can kill.
And because this... He could have killed. He could have killed the guy. Can you also check that we allow our children to watch what is on our TV screen?
Exactly. That looked like wrestling from WWE.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, good shouts. Neo Date, I'll hand it over back to you. As for the messages, they keep coming.
Yes.
Okay.
And before you go,
the
spelling of Kweku is, I haven't seen Kweku spelled like that before. How do you spell it in Adisco? Q-U-A-Q-U-E.
That is our brand of spelling of Kweku House.
Kweku. Q-U-A.
Yes.
Q-U-E.
Yes.
It looks like Kwakwe.
We like it.
Do you like Kwakwe?
But it's so. I mean, so that's how we spell.
Hey, I did before.
Yes, yeah.
Kweku.
Kweku House. Okay, so guys, we go off this segment. There's more coming up on the show today. Thanks very much for all those who sent your messages. We highly condemn this act.
Big time.
We know that, well, we don't pray it happens again. All right, we'll be right back. The show is on.